Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. AMC stock is up close to 7% here on the day, trading at $8.08 per share. We have the latest that you need to know about AMC stock, and search trend data indicates searches are up about 1,100% in the past couple of days based on a couple of factors. So I want to share that information with you as well, and then we're going to go over the CPI report and what's going to be coming tomorrow as well that will be very important for our markets, guys. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comments section. So first thing that I want to cover with you here in this video is the short interest numbers. Now, we talked about this in the last video. The official reported short interest came out at 16.44%. Based on the likes the last video got, when I asked you guys to like the video if you currently hold AMC, it does not look like a lot of people sold. It looks like there's a lot of interest in AMC stock still. So what's the ultimate conclusion? Well, AMC did raise about the float by about 40 million. Odds are that obviously can dilute the short percentage of the float, but you did see about 6+ million additional shares get sold short in this period. Now, that is not to mention any market maker shorts. That's not to mention any shorts that are actually being covered up by the option activity as well. Those are things that are happening. So I still think the squeezability of AMC is at the highest level you have ever been at. The amount of shares that are sold short are at the highest amount you've ever been at, but you are getting that, kind of increase to the flow recently from AMC, and that could be distorting some of the numbers as well. Now, this only accounts for AMC going from about $33 per share down to about 13, so we've fallen from 13 to 7. So there is still quite a bit of ground AMC fell per se that is unaccounted for in the official short interest data. So my personal assessment would be AMC stock is very much squeezable, and nothing has really changed. If you want to look at it the same way I'm looking at it, the amount of shares that are sold short is at a record high. So that in and of itself is something to be quite bullish about. And we were at a record high the last exchange reported short interest number. You just jumped, what, 35% as far as these shares that are sold short, 35.68%, just within the the last 15 days or so. But again, there is likely more shares that are sold short that are being unaccounted for from now, or really from September 1st through today. So from September 1st through today, we don't have that period of shorting activity, and odds are there was even more shares that were actually sold short during that time. Now, let's get into some of the other numbers. And what's interesting is now you're seeing the shares out on loan that is actually exploding as well. So the shares out on loan sits at 30.27 million. This is up 40.38% in the last 3 months. So you are seeing some weird data points here that are maybe suggesting the short interest is higher than what we are seeing. Now, on that note, I should also point out the FTDs go into this equation as well. So it'll bring down the float size as those FTDs are covered. On current accounts, there's still about 4.5 million FTDs that do need to be closed out of, and that could push the short interest up itself. Not even if any other shares are ultimately sold short, probably to 17.5%, just by reducing the overall float by about 4.5 million. So that's something to also consider as well. Now, the free float out on loan at 19.19%, estimated short interest of free float at 16.74%. About 200 million worth of short positions currently in AMC stock. So we'll see what ultimately happens with that. If we do get a big bounce with AMC, the dollar amount sold short could go up quite a bit, and it could go up quickly, okay? And now a short score of 70, cost to borrow of 7.44, and utilization of 76.92. Now, cost to borrow fees, largely in the 4.5% range over here on Interactive Brokers. Cost to borrow fees on Ortex, about 7% for the cost to borrow average. Cost to borrow max 8.6%, and cost to borrow minimum 3.5%. Ortex estimates for the live short interest is 17.5% and 27.57 million shares that are sold short. So very high numbers, record high numbers that you're seeing as far as shares sold short. We've never been this short in AMC stocks literal history. Okay, so yeah, for anyone that says the squeeze is not going to happen, or the squeeze is dead or whatnot, you've never been this short, so I would very much disagree with that. Now, as far as the option activity, calls in the money about 85,000, calls out the money 171,000, puts in the money 117,000. Puts out the money 284,000. So a lot of option activity on both sides. And like I said, with the FTD numbers, through this Friday, on Friday you have 4.1 million FTDs that come due, and then on the following Monday you have 4.5 million FTDs that come due. So still a lot of FTDs that are being closed out of, although AMC stock is no longer on the threshold securities list, and we don't have any options data as of yet. I don't know when we'll start to get this option data, hopefully pretty soon. Something else that is also catching my eye today is the put to call ratio is actually starting to fall. That's a pretty good sign. People are getting rid of some of those bearish bets, maybe not buying as many puts anymore, maybe switching over to buying some calls. As you can see right here, this is the lowest put to call ratio that you have seen since really the beginning of February of 2023. So this is a really good sign, probably the best sign of all, that maybe we do get a larger rally from here. Now, let's pivot and talk about this. It says AMC stock price spiked by 30% and searches grew by 1,150%. This says new findings have revealed a 30% spike in AMC Entertainment Holdings stock price, as well as worldwide spike in searches for AMC theaters following Taylor Swift's announcement of her new Eras Tour concert movie, which will be showing at AMC theaters from October 13th. And you guys can see the Google Trends data right here, by far the highest you have seen in a very long time. Let's see. It says the announcement also resulted in a 30% spike in AMC stock price from a low of $10.73 on August 13th to a high of $13.90 on August 31st, while AMC stock prices currently trade closer to $7.18 a piece. Investors in AMC remain hopeful that Taylor Swift's impressive impact will mean a rally for the company's stock prices. So far, Swift's impressive star power has boosted the GDP in multiple stops of her Eras tour, including Philadelphia and LA. AMC currently has a market capitalization of about $770 million. So what's actually interesting that I want to say about this situation is that now that the court proceedings are done, some of the positive news might start to impact AMC a lot more positively, like AMC's last earnings, where AMC was finally profitable. Well, we had this overhanging of the court battle going on, so AMC stock did not really react the way that you might think it would have if it was losing money for years and finally turn a profit. The stock really didn't do much after its last earnings because the court proceeding was overhanging everything. Well, now, since you're no longer in that court situation, AMC has already raised capital. It might mean some pretty big rallies maybe from here if we do just start to get just good news. Right, so that's something I'll be watching pretty closely over the next couple of weeks if good news really starts to affect the stock good. Now, as far as inflation is concerned, let's go ahead and look at, this is actually a full breakdown of the numbers. We'll just go over here to the calendar to get the raw numbers. And just like I predicted, was a possibility. The core came in at 0.3%, higher than the 0.2% that was estimated. Headline month-over-month inflation came in at 0.6%, right in line with expectations. Year-over-year headline was a little bit higher at 3.7%, expecting 3.6%. And your core inflation rate year-over-year came in at 4.3%. Again, you were expecting 4.3%. So core on a month-over-month basis was higher. Core or inflation on a year-over-year basis was higher. So that core month-over-month being higher was not great. It did increase the odds of getting a rate hike in November and December. It's pretty much solidified at this point. We're not getting a rate hike in September, but the odds for a rate hike in November did jump to 42.6%. Yesterday's probability was 38.5%. So there is greater probabilities now than there was that we will get a rate hike in November and even possibly in December as well, if this inflation data, this inflation trend continues to trend back to the upside. So I would say this is bad news, but the markets recently have fallen, right? You've fallen the last couple of weeks. So if you were trading at all-time highs, you probably would have got a worse downside reaction. That's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. But you've already fallen quite a bit. The last couple of days were quite red in the markets, at least some of them, especially on the NASDAQ. So you're not really getting that continued sell-off at this point. Now, AMC stock, far from a sell-off today. AMC is up 9.25%, seeing a very aggressive rally here. Now, on a dollar amount, we're still at low prices, so the percentage of almost 10% is a 71-cent rally. So we do have some work to do to get up to these higher prices to actually see a much larger dollar kind of rally. But the next major level is the 8-day moving average. That is at $9.23 per share. The MACD has actually just crossed over. The yellow line has now crossed above the blue line, and that is very, very good news, as well as the RSI at 26.59, starting to come off of those lows that we were seeing at about 23, guys. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.